What's up, Ravens fans? It's time to hear from you guys in our Ravens Mailbag segment. Lots of good questions this week as we're deep in free agency right now. So let's just go with the first question today from Taylor Hudson. And the question is, of the remaining unsigned Ravens free agents, which are most likely to be brought back here to Baltimore?
Well, if we're including Austin Howard on this list, I'm going to go with him. And now, he wasn't a true unrestricted free agent heading into the free agency process, but the Ravens didn't pick up his second-year option. But I think that he could come back at the right price if he's willing to come back, because the Ravens could use more depth and starting experience at right tackle. I mean, right now, you look at it, if they don't draft a first-round offensive tackle, which you don't want to box yourself into having to do that, then you're probably looking at Alex Lewis or James Hurst at that spot, neither of which have started there really extensively at all. So I think Austin Howard could make sense. Another dark horse candidate, though.
I like dark horse candidates.
Yeah. I'm going to throw out Crockett Gilmore.
Okay.
I think that he will come at a cheap price.
Will they be bringing him as a tight end or as an offensive lineman?
Mostly offensive lineman, but a little bit of both.
Okay.
You know, he'd provide a little depth at tight end too, but he's been making the transition to offensive tackle this offseason, and the Ravens obviously like him. I mean, this guy is tough. He plays like a Raven, you know? And if he can get his body in the right shape to play offensive tackle, I think that he could be a good backup option there at the right price. And the reason I'm not going with the obvious answer here that I think fans probably want to hear.
Wide receivers.
Wide receivers, right. I don't see a reunion with Mike Wallace or Michael Campanaro at this point. I think it's been pretty obvious that the Ravens want to turn over that room. They've explored a lot of different options, brought in new faces. Unless they get to a point where I think they're a little bit, the options really go dry, then I think that they won't bring those guys back. Maybe Campanaro as a returner primarily, but I don't see a reunion with Mike Wallace, unfortunately.
All right, let's go ahead and look to the draft. This question comes from Justin Bryson, and the question is, I've seen a lot of talk about the Ravens taking an offensive lineman in the first round of the draft, but it's been exclusively tackles. What are the chances that they take an interior offensive lineman, maybe like Iowa center James Daniels? Well, the reason that you've heard most of the talk about offensive tackles is because those are the guys that you take in the first round of the draft. Interior guys, guards, centers. Unless they're really premier players. Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame, he would be the guy. But you know what? He's going to be gone probably in the top 10. I mean, he's somebody, he might be the best offensive lineman, one of the best overall players in this year's draft. If he were there at 16, sure, I think you have that conversation. I think there'd be a pretty good chance. But I don't think there's any chance that he's going to be there. I just think that, historically speaking, you take the offensive tackles in the first round, and there's a lot more of those guys who are NFL-ready first-round players. You're talking about guys like Mike McGlinchey from Notre Dame or Connor Williams from Texas. Those are the players that come off the board in the first round. I think if they take an interior guy, you're thinking second or third day of the draft.
Or maybe if it were a trade-back scenario, maybe late first round, but I don't see it at 16.
At 16, it doesn't seem like there's a guy there that would make sense.
Yeah, I agree. Last question comes from Brown Derek 49, and the question is, it looks like Ozzie is fulfilling his promise of finding wide receivers, but what are the chances we look for a linebacker in free agency to pair with C.J. Mosley? Yeah, I don't see this one happening. I think the Ravens want to be young at inside linebacker. They don't want to get older. Now, you look back at Darryl Smith, right? He was a good free agent signing that they put at inside linebacker, but that was